They were awesome. It's an incredibly hard act to follow, but I'll do my best. Thank you, Emma G, for the pregame entertainment. That was awesome as well. Good afternoon. My name's Sean Seaman. I'm president of Hoffman & Associates, and I may be the only person here wearing a tie. I'm not wearing it for the whole day, but I figured I'd wear it for this. I've been working on the wharf for 16 years, so I figured I'd represent on the delivery of the second phase. It's my distinct honor to welcome you to the 5-year anniversary of the wharf's grand opening, the completion of Phase 2. The project is one of the most significant and successful urban waterfront developments in the world and would have never been possible without the vision, the commitment, and the dedication of many of you in the audience today. And as you might guess, I have some thank yous. So if you bear with me, I apologize. It's imperative that I say thank you to the people that have worked on the project before we kick off the rest of the program. Before I introduce the featured speakers in the remaining program, I want to acknowledge several of our elected officials in the audience. Mayor Muriel Bowser, Ward 6 Council Member Charles Allen, ANC 6D Single Member District Representative Andy Litsky, who's guided us through this project. Past Council Member Brendan Todd, nice to see you. Thank you all for the commitment and leadership that you had on this project that spanned 4 mayoral administrations, 2 decades, and a very close partnership with the District of Columbia government. Thank you. I want to thank each of the dozens of team members on the Hoffman and Madison development and construction teams for their tireless commitment and sacrifice in delivering the wharf. Most of you are here today, so thank you. You have made the wharf a reality. Many of you have been involved in Phase 1 and Phase 2, a time frame that spanned more than a decade. And I wanted to especially recognize the Hoffman senior leadership, including Maria Thompson, Matt Steenhook, John Bradley, and John McAvoy, specifically because of your involvement across both phases and being here today at this second phase opening. And a special thank you to Mark Dorrigan, who's in the front row. I've had the pleasure of working beside Mark for over a decade on the formative elements of the wharf project, and we wouldn't be here without his leadership and guidance as well. Thank you to our partner, Madison Marquette. You'll be hearing from Amir Hamor in a moment, but thank you also to Vince Constantini, Dan McCann, and Gary Ball, who have been with the project through thick and thin for 2 phases. And our HSW partners, Ben Soto of City Partners, Ben Soto of Paramount Development, Jeff Griffiths with City Partners, Michael Jones and Curtis Williams with Trident Development. And a very special thank you to someone that everyone here knows. She's unfortunately not with us here today, but her involvement in the project since even before 2006 can't go without mention. Eleanor Bacon is a big reason that a lot of us are here today. So thank you, Eleanor. Thank you to District Wharf Properties and their involvement in running our first phase of development, and we'll be now taking on asset management operations and programming for the second phase of development as well. Their tireless work and commitment made the project the success it is today. Thank you, Sarah Vasquez, Andrew Sun, and John White for the leadership of your respective departments. And thank you, Bob Rubin Koenig, who all of these events would not happen without. Thank you, Bob. Thank you to the Ward 6 community. I know many of you are in the audience today, and the rest of the neighborhoods of Southwest. Thank you so much. It's through partnerships with the Ward 6 community, the Southwest neighborhoods, Amadon, Bowen, that we've really made the project what it is. And we really appreciate you supporting a vision to create a waterfront neighborhood in the district's smallest quadrant that's become such a significant part of the district's urban fabric. This close partnership over the last 2 decades has made in part the project the success it is today. So thanks so much. It's a model for public-private development everywhere in the world. So thanks. Thank you to our equity partners from PSP Investments who had the vision to invest in this project. Such a transformational project, and they saw it early on. Many of the current and former leaders of PSP are here with us today. Great to see you all. We're thankful for the trust that you've put in this team and your commitment in the long view of the Wharf community that we've developed here together. So thank you so much. Thank you to Wells Fargo and Blackstone, our lead lenders on the Phase 1 refinancing, and Goldman Sachs, the lead lender on the Phase 2 construction loan, the largest construction loan in the District of Columbia's history, a huge milestone. And we're thankful for their involvement. And lastly, David Morris from EB5 Partners, who's been a long partnership with the Wharf on several of our financings. Thank you to all of the district of employees and agencies that have helped us get here and make the project a reality. It'd be impossible to name everyone in the district that's made this project a reality, but I do want to acknowledge a few people in the audience today. Deputy Mayor John Falchicchio, Deputy Mayor, Director of Real Estate, Sarosh Alpadwala. Thank you, Sarosh. Director of the Department of Buildings. It's a new agency, so I'm still working on it. Ernest Shrapka. Thank you, Ernest, for your guidance and leadership. And Jill Bird and Jeff Reese, who I saw Jeff here today at the agency formerly known as DCRA. It's kind of like Prince. For a decade of your commitment with the project and helping us get here. A special shout out to Susan Longstreet. I'm not sure if Susan is here, but this is near and dear to my heart. Susan has been working with the mayor and with the deputy mayor's office, protecting the interests of the district and always working to find creative solutions. So thank you so much, Susan, for your involvement. Thanks to our Phase 2 contractors, Balfour Beatty, Donahoe, DPR, Chimbro, and all the subcontractor and tenant contractors that worked on this project, and a recognition to Clark Construction for their immense contributions in Phase 1. Last but not least, thanks to the dozens of architecture, engineering, landscape, and planning consultants and all the law firms that have worked on this project and touched the project over the many years. I know dozens of you are here. The assemblage of so many talented professionals in one place created what the Wharf is today. It's widely admired and recognized for what it is as a leader in project planning, design, and placemaking that people copy and look to for guidance around the world. And I'd like to acknowledge in particular Perkins Eastman. I know several people are here today from Perkins Eastman, the master architect, the glue that held all the design teams together for both phases of the project, and a special recognition for Stan Exted, who I don't believe was able to be here with us tonight, but Stan was the lead planner and architect for the public realm that we're in tonight. Many of the buildings that you see in Phase 1 of the project, and responsible for the environment we're in this afternoon. He always wanted to make things a little bit messy, and through the messy, we created a little bit of magic. So thank you, Stan. So I'm not able to thank everyone individually that's touched the project. Hope to catch up with many of you this evening. We're just getting things started. It's going to be a great night here at the Wharf. This is only the first of many events. After our brief remarks, Batala will lead the way down the Wharf. They're fantastic. If you haven't seen them before, they're coming up. Enjoy the music on all the stages along the way. Be sure to check out the entertainment of Ja Rowe Williams and the Gojo Project, and be sure to stay for fireworks and a special surprise, which I'm not even sure what that is, on District Pier right before 8 p.m., but it's going to be fantastic. So right now, I want to turn the program over to Hoffman's founder and chairman, Monty Hoffman. Monty is the one person who's worked on this project longer than even me and deserves all the recognition in the world for his personal, financial commitment, leadership, and navigating this project through some of the most challenging times that we've faced with the conviction to see it through. So thank you, and with that, I'll turn it over to Monty. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Sean. That was really brave of you to recognize all those people, greet everybody, and especially follow those children. You are really growing into a leader in your own right, and it's been a joy to watch you rise. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We are excited about this day. I would like to introduce you to our first speaker on stage, and this is my partner and my friend, Amir Hamor. Amir is the chairman of Madison Marquette, and they have been a partner on the Wharf since 2010, and an essential partner as well. Together, Amir and I, we traveled the world early on to look for capital, And we actually found the best in the world next door, and that was PSP. And fortunately, Amir already had a relationship with them, and we made that work. So we've been aligned, looking long-term on this marathon from the very beginning, and so I couldn't ask for a better partner. Amir?
So, Monty, it's taken 12 years, right? 12 years of hard work and efforts and focus from everyone here to get to this. I look at the wharf today and I'm astounded. I'm astounded at what we have done, at what you have achieved. What an extraordinary place. We've made this project into the must-see destination for every visitor of the city. This has become the gathering place where all of our residents experience the waterfront, where they come to play, to celebrate, to listen to music, to party. We have not spared 1 ounce of effort. Over 300 people from our team have worked to achieve this. Actually, thousands if we include the contractor crews and the operators and the restaurants and the hotels, etc. We have not spared $1. We've not built the wharf for a quick profit, but to get the highest quality in every building and every component of this project, to give the city the waterfront that it deserves. Yes, thank you. We should be proud. This is not only the largest, but it's the premier project in the capital of the first country in the world. Look at the incredible original architecture. Look at the atmosphere, the promenade where we enjoy the water, the piers that allow you to get right into the river, all these different varied restaurants and eating places, all the shows and music that we program, the festivals that we host. We've attracted the most illustrious organizations, law firms, lobbyists, the Atlantic, all want to be in our office buildings because of the amenities that we offer. We have a whole community who live here, over 1,300 apartments at every price point. Look at all the boats. We have over 400 boat slips, and all the activities that we have from the water activities to the skating rink and all the other things that Bob and others program all the time. There's always something happening at the wharf. And let's not forget the hotels, the Intercontinental, the Canopy, the Hyatt House, but in particular, let's not forget the Pendry. I'm so excited to visit it, and I just asked Alan when it's going to open so that I can book a weekend there. I want to see it. We've built a unique combination of uses and experiences. The wharf is resilient. Having gone through COVID, going through the current economic turmoil now, despite all of that, this project continues to grow. We continue to lease. We continue to attract more and more people. This is a jewel. It's resilient, it's stable, it's growing, it's strong economically. It's the center of the city. I am so proud of what we have achieved together. I am so proud to be a Washingtonian. We have embraced this city. We've devoted every effort to give it a great gathering center, and the city has embraced us back. So today we celebrate. I wanted to thank actually everybody that Sean thanked, but that would take forever. I want to thank particularly Mayor Bowser and every city official and every mayor past. I want to thank Congresswoman Norton. The wharf is named, she came up with the name for the wharf, right? And this is really her legacy also, her support. I would like to thank every member of our team who has worked on this project. I would like to thank our partners, PSP and the Partners Group. And I would like to thank in particular my partner, Monty Hoffman. We don't always agree on everything, but that's what makes our partnership so great. I want to also say one word for my wife, Seema. She's been there and supported me all the time. So thank you very much. This is going to be great. I can't wait to party. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. We are standing in front of the Pendry, and the Pendry is a new luxury boutique hotel for the wharf and for the district. Amira and I and our team, we searched for a long time to try to find an offering that would be different than the 3 other hotels that we have. And we couldn't be any more pleased and excited about where we arrived. The Pendry team, they provide a best-in-class offering. We are very excited about them, and I would like to introduce you to Alan Firstman, and he is the CEO and chairman of the Montage Group and the Pendry Hotels. Please give it up for Alan.
Thank you for the introduction, Monty. Good evening. What a beautiful event to celebrate completion of the 2nd phase of the wharf. Thank you to our partners at Hoffman & Associates, Madison Marquette, and PSP. They are true believers in Pendry, and we wouldn't be here today without their unwavering support. On behalf of my son, Michael, co-founder of Pendry Hotels and Resorts, and all of us at Montage International, I want to thank you for inviting us to be part of this spectacular community. For many years, we've looked for the ideal location to place our flag in the nation's capital. We cannot think of a better destination than here at the wharf. This waterfront location is visionary, ambitious, and incredibly well done. We are so honored to be here and look forward to opening on October 26th. Washington, D.C. has been a very special place to me personally. Many years ago, while in college, I had an opportunity to intern on Capitol Hill. Fast forward to today, it's amazing to bring our Pendry brand to D.C. When we open our doors later this month, we want you to consider Pendry your home away from home. We hope to become a centerpiece for your families, the community, visitors, and we aspire to be an active contributor to the vibrancy of D.C. Pendry D.C. joins sister properties in San Diego, Baltimore, West Hollywood, Park City, Chicago, and New York. We hope you all have the opportunity to visit those hotels as well. Thank you for being here today, and we look forward to welcoming you to Pendry upon opening later this month. Many thanks.
Thank you, Alan. The creation of the wharf required approval of several federal agencies, not the least of which was 4 acts of Congress. And you don't get that done without a champion. And our champion was Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. The Congresswoman not only helped us politically and through process, the federal process, but also in many ways. As Amir said, she actually named this the wharf, and it was a funny stance. Early in our process, long ago, we had hired marketing folks to come up with a name for Southwest Waterfront, and many of you may know Southwest Waterfront was really named through the federal government, and that was through urban renewal. So we felt we needed to move on to a new paradigm and refresh the name. In any event, I showed Congresswoman the names. I was so proud of them, and she looked at them, and her body language, her facial expressions were not good. And she paused because she's a polite person. And she says, you know, before the federal government moved in, we used to just call it the wharf. And I thought, wow. So that is real, as they say, OG, right? So the next morning, we were painting wharf signs, and that was it. We never looked back. So for that reason and many, many more, I am so grateful for the Congresswoman. Please give it up for Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton.
Thank you, Monty, and thank all of you for being here on this really historic occasion when you consider what is happening here today. On the 5th anniversary of the grand opening of the wharf, Phase 1 to celebrate the completion of the wharf Phase 2. Phase 2 will continue to revitalize the Southwest waterfront with an additional 1.15 million square feet of mixed-use development, including a marina, offices and retail, 351 new housing units, boy do we need those in D.C., and parks and public places. I was honored the waterfront park here was dedicated to me in recognition of my years-long work to pass legislation to allow the wharf to be developed. The passage of my legislation enabled the redevelopment of the wharf into this thriving, tax revenue generating mixed-use development and community hub for live music, visual arts, and culture. I am particularly pleased that the wharf and the yards, which also resulted from separate legislation of mine, have reactivated both the southwest and the southeast waterfronts. I have also worked hard to defeat efforts by the federal government to restrict public access to Washington Channel. Which the Army Corps proposed to do recently on behalf of Fort McNair, but is no longer pursuing. My Washington Channel Public Access Act would prohibit the Army Corps from finalizing, implementing, or enforcing any proposed rule restricting access to the channel. I am pleased that the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure passed this bill last year, transferring unutilized and unused federal land in D.C. to the federal government, to the D.C. government, pardon me, or private sector, and improving public access to our waterways have been among my top priorities during my service in Congress. With Phase 2 of the wharf complete, we now can celebrate the neighborhood's revitalization. These transfers bring new neighborhoods and hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue to the District of Columbia. I congratulate Monty Hoffman, Amber Hammer, the team from Hoffman Madison Waterfront, and all the community partners for their dedication and work on this visionary project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Our next speaker cut short her vacation by at least a day to be here, and I am humbled for that. And Mayor, I feel like we owe you a day off after the celebration or somehow to make it up to you. But it's not surprising. You always put the city first. And from the very beginning, you supported the wharf. Even as a Ward 4 council member, you supported the wharf. And I will always remember that, and I will always be grateful. Can we please have a warm welcome for our mayor?
Well, good evening, everybody. I am really happy to be here today. I'm happy to celebrate with the Hoffman and Madison Marquette teams. I'm happy to celebrate with your council member Charles Allen, who's done great work on this project, first as a staffer and now as the Ward 6 council member. Give him a round of applause. I am always delighted to be with our Congresswoman who delivers for us each and every day, and I have to amplify the point that she made, that her job down on the council, in addition to fighting for DC values, in addition for fighting for our full representation, she's really been about the dollars and the cents, and the jobs and the economic development and bringing our rivers back. And she's done it, I got to tell you, better than anybody down there. So let's hear it for our Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. I've enjoyed so much, as the Congresswoman has said. I grew up on this wharf. My father was a longtime boater at the Washington Marina, so I spent a lot of my childhood in and around these areas, and it was very different then. And there are the good things about it, I think, that we've worked hard to preserve, but underutilizing our waterfront has been a detriment to our city. And bringing it back has been a big boon. And what we see when we see these convening places, beautiful architecture, inspired views, we see opportunities for families to be together, visitors to come, and for us to be able to invest in the things that are so important to DC. Hospitality is a huge part of why we can invest in great schools and beautiful parks and incredible transportation. And all of us are focused on bringing all of our hospitality back. And because of the leadership of people who, you know, it's good to focus on fun, right, Monty? And it's okay for us to focus on fun, because that's why people are coming to visit the wharf, coming to visit our city, and allowing us to get our hospitality, tourism, and entertainment sectors back. I finally just want to say a big thank you to all the DC government teams that have helped to make this happen, not just in the last 5 years, but throughout this process. And you should be proud, Ward 6, of the 37,000 people who work for you in DC government. Can you give them a big round of applause? So our teams at DMPED and DCRA and DDOT, I know, are incredibly involved in this process, along with the wonderful advisory neighborhood commissioners for Ward 6. So let's give them, Andy and his colleagues in the ANC, a big round of applause. So congratulations. I also can't wait to see the Pendry and all of the new restaurants and options here in Phase 2. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your leadership and your ongoing support for this wharf community. About an hour ago, someone said to me, look, you've had 5 years to prepare a speech. It better be good. It's not that good. And further, there's pressure knowing that I am the last one standing between this big crowd and the bar. So I'm going to keep it simple. And there are hundreds of people, hundreds of individuals I should thank, and those are just the attorneys. But I'm going to skip all that. But for one exception, I'm going to make one exception. The wharf journey lasted 16 years. I mean, what could possibly go wrong in that period of time, right? There were many, many dark moments. And I lived through that with my wife, Tracy. And I joked one time, this was long ago, I said, you know, right after college, I moved here with $400 in a van. And I said, we may be leaving with $400 in a van. It's quite possible. She said, no, I grew up poor. I know poor. I got this. You take care of what you got to do. And so with that, I was able to focus on the dream and keeping it alive. And she focused on the family and keeping it strong. So that unsung hero is sitting right here. And I would like very much to give it up for my wife, Tracy. So today celebrates the end of development and the start of a 9-month rollout for hotels, the Pendry, the Ameris condos, the restaurants, and the like. We're moving beyond the 14 rezoning PUDs that we had, the 4 acts of Congress, the 1,200 community meetings that we've had. We're healing from the 1,700 permits that were pulled. And Jeff Reese, where are you? The 4,000 inspections that we had. We did count that before. We are moving beyond that, and we are now turning our attention to serving this very neighborhood that we've created. And rather than go on about the wharf in usual real estate terms, which can kind of be a little bravado, I'd like to share my perspective on what I think matters. And I think the legacy that we're all creating is really what matters most. And most all of us here contributed toward that. And we should also give credit to the thousands of construction workers, the designers, the engineers, the architects, city officials, community leaders, all those who could not be here right now, because everybody helped fulfill a vision to bring us to this point. And that vision began, as we imagined, a waterfront that would be for everyone. We believed that we could optimize the value of this entire amazing shoreline by bringing people together. It would be good for community, and it would be good for business. And our goal was not to coexist, but co-thrive on that balance. So we studied waterfronts and public spaces from all over the world. And what we learned is that public spaces that don't work are generally too big, they're too grand, they're static, they're a monument to the developer or to the government, but they don't really serve the people. Conversely, public spaces that do succeed are heavily nuanced in design to enhance people's lives and support their good time, right? And that's maybe a little bit gooey, so now I'm going to be just literal. Let's take this room, this space we're in right now. Your chairs are sitting on wood. That wood is there because it is warm and it is soft. The perimeter around this room is made of stone, cobblestone, and that's traffic calming for all the vehicles that will come around. Those vehicles will create energy into this space. It'll be like a square, a town square, think of it that way, with all the energy surrounding it. We're immersed in nature. We have these Kentucky coffee trees that make lousy coffee, but they're great for shade, right? We have plants. We have wisteria, which is an invasive species, and it's doing its job. It's climbing those poles out there on the street that hold the chandeliers. Those chandeliers have dimmer systems on them, so they make you look good at night. The same thing with these lights right here. These dim because we're all about ambience. This will never look like a cafeteria. And if you look at the lamps that go up and down Wharf Street, they have lampshades on them. Those lampshades diffuse the light just like your living room lamp. It's the same thing. We have 4 restaurants that will spill out into this space, as well as a 5-star hotel that will spill out in this space. That will create the energy and the buzz. And we had to put all these chairs over here around a fire pit that will be here, which will also entertain, as well as this stage. This stage is for artists. One could argue that we're artists in a way, but that is for entertainment. And if on the water side, the slips come right up to this part, and that's to engage the land side with the water side. So when we're done, people will do with it whatever they want. They will make it their own experience. They will own it. It will be authentic, and that's what works. And that's the magic that we created all along the shoreline and across the entire waterfront. It's marina theater, it's street theater, it's food, it's joy, it's social, and it actually has a huge impact. And I want to give you just a couple stats to conclude. That impact is this past year, we had 7 million visitors visit the wharf. And next year, when this is complete with all the retail activity, including this public setting, We expect to have 10 million visitors. We had 638 concerts over the past year, and that's with the Anthem and the other couple venues and a couple of the other places we have them. We had 76 weddings in 1 year here. We had 109 public events. We're providing 350 affordable and workforce residences. Again, the wharf is for everybody. We have 400 slips and a thriving liveaboard and Capitol Yacht Club community. We have hundreds of thousands of people that arrive here on our free shuttle bus as well as the water taxis. We've rented 7,000 kayaks in 1 year. We've had 300,000 people enjoy the dinner cruises. We've created 2,800 construction jobs. We paid $700 million to DC certified businesses. We've produced 500 jobs and apprenticeships for residents east of the river, and the wharf generates 3,000 permanent jobs. Those are major impacts. And for the first time, with opening this up, you can walk along the water from the Jefferson Memorial all the way over to Fort McNair. And this will help tie us all together. For the first time, this will help support Washington, D.C. as a true waterfront city. And John Falchecchio, are you listening? Okay. So when this is stabilized, when Phase 2 is stabilized, we're already producing a lot of taxes. But when this is stabilized, we'll be north of $90 million a year in taxes to the city for the things that the mayor talked about with all the other support services and everything else this district needs. I have one more stat, and this is actually my favorite stat. So a few years ago, we bought this camper. It's a 12-foot long camper from a guy in West Virginia. And we brought it here, and we cleaned it all up, and we put it over next to the fire pit. And people were asking, what are you going to do with that? I said, we're going to sell stuff out of it. And so we put it all together, and the bottom line is we sold 38,000 s'mores in 1 year. You cannot be in a bad mood when you're eating a s'more, right? That just brings, people together. So after 16 years, our journey is complete. We did it. We brought our vision to life. And this story, which all of us are all part of, has a dramatic finish. Because we visited and we studied these spaces all over the world. And now the world is coming here to study the wharf. Oh, there you go. I guess that's worth celebrating. That is my hook. Thank you and have a great evening.